Well, it is back to school season and parents are still supporting their children in that transition from summer to school. So we have Dr. Tracy Packiam, who has created the acronym IMA or IMA with us. So anyway, first of all, thank you for joining us again. Good to see you.
You too.
So IMA, the I is identify, the M is move, and the A is act. So let's start with the I, identify, and you say read the clues. What exactly do you mean by that?
So as a parent, it's important to recognize how anxiety is displaying itself in your child's physical body.
Okay.
Our anxiety is our brain's alarm system. It kind of is sounding when we feel worried or we're anticipating something happening in the future. And it releases adrenaline in anticipation of managing that stress.
Right.
And so what is your child doing with all that adrenaline? Are they self-soothing, touching their hand a bit more? Are they pulling their hair a little bit more?
I do that.
I have clients that sometimes will, pluck hair on their eyebrows or even on their head. So notice that. Maybe you notice them touching their neck a little bit more than usual. So identify the clues that your child is giving you without them actually saying, hey, mom, dad, I feel anxious or nervous right now.
What do you do if you do notice them doing that?
And that's the second letter, the M, that's move. Your body has this surge of adrenaline.
Right.
And so even as adults, I will have clients report, I have to move, I get restless, I have to shake my leg, or, and my partner gets mad or my friends get mad. It's your body releasing that adrenaline. So when you notice that in your child, get them to move. Do some jumping jacks in the kitchen, do some push-ups. Just do little run laps around the room a little bit, but get them to recognize that that's their body's way of trying to say, hey, I have so much adrenaline, I don't know what to do, and if I don't get rid of it, I'm going to start annoying my siblings or start kind of acting out a little bit.
Okay, good point. I like that. And then A is act. So you are an agent.
Yes.
What exactly does that mean?
And if you have young children, you can make this a little fun, like you're an agent, a secret agent.
Oh, okay,
But it's to recognize that what can you do that's in your control? So be able to distinguish between, hey, I can't control what's happening in the classroom that the other kids are doing, but I can control my response to that.
Right.
Or I can control what I say back to them.
Right.
Or even whether I want to be quiet. So help them identify and act, I can do this. I don't have to feel like there's nothing I can do, things are happening to me, and it can create a negative sense of learned helplessness is the word we use in psychology. But do the opposite. Say, be an agent, what can you control?
Right, and that's always a good reminder, I think, for all ages, and thinking of that for all ages. I mean, there were a couple things you mentioned that I also do.
Right.
Not just a child does, right? So, I mean, is this something that could be universal for children and adults?
It is. Certainly with adults too, we have that same adrenaline. Your brain again is sending off that alarm, what could go wrong in the future. Adults will even report, and children too, that overthinking before bedtime where your brain starts kicking into overdrive. You start anticipating, what do I do? For adults, it could be, what's going to happen at work? What about the drive? For children, again, what's going to happen on the bus? Will my teacher get mad at me? Will I say the wrong thing? So those are other symptoms. You can look at bedtime. What's happening? Is your child not wanting to go to bed because their brain is in overdrive due to the anxiety? Some fun tips as a parent, if you want to kind of, we talked about movement, but just to even manage that anxiety, blow bubbles.
Really?
And it's a great way to help them control their breathing. So we hear a lot about the science behind that controlled breathing.
Yes.
You might have heard of box breathing where you count in and out. But for children, it's maybe too difficult to remember.
Focus on
right,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
But blowing bubbles, you have to blow, or blow balloons. There's another great way to encourage them to regulate their breathing, to control the physical state of their anxiety.
And I guess adults could also do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned blowing bubbles and I lit up like a Christmas tree. Like, that sounds like fun. Okay, so then, all right, going back to school, we've got the tips for the kids, tips for the parents, but if the parent themselves, though, is struggling, like kids asleep, all right, we got through the day, what is something that the parent can do to kind of like feel good at the end of the day for themselves, because they've been having to hold on and help out their child that whole day?
Such a great question, and I think it's an important reminder for parents not to pre-purchase worry for your child. So this idea that our brains have what's called mirror neurons. We reflect each other's emotions, and children are especially sensitive to that. They're watching their parents for clues. Is mom, dad nervous? And they become nervous too. Is mom, dad happy? They're happy too. So as a parent, even going to bed, reminding yourself that when you're anxious about the school day, when you ask questions, was it a bad day, honey? What went wrong? When your language is set up to to turn that negative
or even the
perspective.
inflection like you just had too made me a little bit,
Sure, yeah, those mirror neurons are kicking in your child, and they're going to reflect that anxiety. And so just a reminder, tell yourself, I don't need to pre-purchase worry. And you know, even a physical gesture, there's research to show that we talk about power posing, releasing confidence.
Right.
What is your physical gesture to release anxiety? For some, it might be, I'm letting it go. I don't need to take it to bed with me. You know, I don't need to wake up with it. Maybe it's you just want to shake it off your shoulder.
We'll do a little Taylor Swift, shake it off.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. I love that.
Well, thank you so much for helping us out with that today. Even talking to you just in this moment, I already feel better. So
wonderful.
Good to see you, as always.
Too.
And we'll see you next Monday. And we'll be right back, everyone.